All right. Top of the morning, Haley. Top of the evening, top of the night, whatever time zone you are on. We are live. Right. Top of the morning, Haley. Top of the evening, top of the night. Let me break whatever this down. Whatever time zone you are on. We are turning my device down now. Apologies, everybody. All right. Here we go. A moment of silence for all those who have lost their lives. All right. Having said that, let's get into it. We're continuously looking at RICO charges in this case, these RICO cases, and the law. Okay. Prosecutorial misconduct, you will see being strolled across when they overreach. So what you're going to hear tonight, yesterday we looked at Jeffrey Williams, aka Young Thug's bond hearing. Today we will look at Gunny's bond hearing. Hello, Uncle G, how you doing? We will look at Gunny's bond hearing, but what's interesting about this is for Gunny, traffic violations are included in his RICO. And again, prosecutors need to be very careful. It's a reason why they can be reprimanded for misconduct. Prosecutorial misconduct, and I'll say it again from my perspective, when it comes to free speech, in terms of music, I think the Constitution makes it very clear. And so I would have to put this RICO, now that I've actually read through a little bit of some of the charges, when it comes to, and I'm talking about the RICO charges, not the additional charges. When it comes to Gunny and Young Thug right now, they're overreaching when it comes to free speech. The prosecutors are overreaching right now at this point. And like I said, unless they can substantiate the claim from these lyrics, you have to be able to back that up. Let's get to the music. Let's get off into this. Let's get off into this. That's all I can say is get off into this. Let's get started. Let's get this started. All right. I am moving up in here tonight, okay? All right. All right. So here we go. Yesterday, again, we looked at Young Thug, whose uh, surname is Jeffrey Williams. And I said it was some things problematic that I heard as it pertained to that hearing. And one of them was his First Amendment right to freedom of speech. Okay. Music as freedom of speech. It's protected in the First Amendment. All right. And then the Fifth Amendment also backs it up. It protects intellectual property. And then you have the 14th Amendment further protecting the First Amendment. Okay. So let's be clear about that. So as I've listened to various attorneys pontificate, you have some people on the side saying it's over. They're done for. It's a RICO. And I say, here we go again. Innocent until proven guilty, period. Okay. Because according to the United States Constitution, hey, 3000, how you doing? According to the United States Constitution, free speech, which includes music, is protected. All right. In our amendment, in according to our constitutional rights. Okay. Let me say it again. Some things that I heard which were problematic as I was listening to the hearing, as the state was bringing their cases, because the burden of proof is on the state. We all realize that. Number one, going at the lyrics. Number two, and this is pertaining specifically to Young Thug, and it relates to the video, the live stream from yesterday. Problematic is, number one, them going after lyrics. Okay, if you're going to go after rap lyrics, which is considered music, which is protected under the Constitution, our First Amendment right, then you're going to run into some issues because music is protected. Okay. Also, Fifth Amendment which talks about and deals with intellectual property. And then you have the 14th Amendment, which backs up the First Amendment, as well as the Fifth Amendment, which backs up the First Amendment. Okay. So those are some things that I'm hearing problematic, as well as when they go into the warrants to siege and search his property. And when they have in there guns, whatever charges they're going to bring as it relates to that, because according to the Constitution, again, we have a right to bear arms. Okay. We have a right to bear arms. So those are just some of the things that from yesterday that I heard, which were problematic, as well as him being denied bond. He doesn't have any felonies. Therefore, he can legally bear arms. And so they'll get into the different gun types later on. However, let me say this: allegations, speculations, conspiracies, and theories are not facts, nor is it evidence. So the burden of proof is on the state. They are going to have to prove up their case. Right now, to me, coming out the gate is an overreach. From the prosecutor's standpoint, they have already made some missteps, according to my perspective. Okay. So let's get to Gunna today. And again, Overreaching. Let me break this volume down. I don't need to be that loud. Thank you, everybody. I break. I didn't mean to break the volume off. I just wanted to turn it down. All right. Apologies. So let's get to Gunny. Okay. So now we're going to get to, let me make sure I'm in real time. All right. I'm in real time here. I'm in real time here. Let's get to Gunny. When we get to Gunny, let me refresh this. I want to be in real time. All right. Refresh this one real quick. All right. So when we get to Gunny, it's going to be really interesting because tinted windows is part of the RICO charge. It's some traffic violations that are in there. One of them is tinted windows. You will hear his attorney discuss that. And the other one is speeding, which is also included in the RICO indictment. And you will hear his attorney address that. And this is Gunny's attorney. By the way, Gunny also has no felonies on his record. So we're running into some issues. Right. So let's go here. Do this. Let's get to it.
You want your...
Good morning, Mr. Kitchens. My name is Judge Wolf. We're going to go on the record now. This is our first appearance warrant calendar, position 14. The indictment number is 22 SC 182273, the state versus Sergio G. Kitchens. And Mr. Kitchens, again, I'm Judge Wolf. This is a calendar to let you know what's going on with your case. There are a few issues that we might take up. I want to remind you that you're presumed innocent. You have the right to remain silent. And you have a right to a lawyer. Your lawyer, Mr. Samuel, as well as Mr. Garland, they're on the call. We're doing all this remotely because of COVID. So we also have the prosecutor on the case, Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith, if I could begin with you, sir. From the state's perspective, this is a little bit different because the case has been indicted. What is the state asking the court to do, if anything, today?
The state's position is that because this is a direct indictment, jurisdiction.
And they were having technical
Superior Court Judge, the Honorable Judge Glanville, I believe, has been assigned to this case.
Okay, and I did see that on Odyssey. It looks like Judge Glanville, who is an elected Superior Court judge, was assigned the case. So, Mr. Smith, is it your position that probable cause has been established by the indictment?
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay, and the other issue that often comes up with these first appearance calendars is bond. And so do I understand you that you're asking Judge Glanville to take up any bond issues?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. Let me hear from Mr. Samuel on both issues, the PC and the bond. Anything you would like to add, sir?
Your Honor, there's nothing to add on the probable cause. Obviously, the indictment's been returned, so we can't challenge the probable cause. We do believe that you have concurrent jurisdiction to consider bond. This is a case in which Mr. Kitchens is, I'm sure you haven't had time to read through the indictment in this case, but the allegations, just reading the indictment itself and nothing more, it is so clear that he is entitled to bond. There are, in essence, two traffic offenses, not trafficking, but motor vehicle traffic offenses that are alleged. I represented him in one of those cases, and he was found guilty of a window tint violation. That's the RICO allegation with regard to 4 or 5 of the paragraphs of the RICO indictment. The other one claims that he was speeding and got a speeding ticket. Actually wasn't even the driver. and someone in another car had a gun. With regard to, and the only other allegations in the RICO indictment involve lyrics for some of his songs, some of which are some of the most internationally famous songs right now. Top songs on Billboard, #1 albums in the country, and the prosecution has indicted him, alleging those lyrics as being part of the reasons why he's guilty of a RICO offense. He voluntarily surrendered yesterday. He wasn't picked up. We called the sheriff, said, we're coming down. We know the indictment was just returned. I talked to the DA, Mr. Geary, told him we were coming down. Nobody had to go pick him up. He poses no risk of flight at all. He's been born and raised in Georgia, been here his whole time. His mother is sitting across the table from me here in my office. And he had no felony convictions of any kind. We are sitting here in jail at this point on a RICO allegation involving 2 motor vehicle offenses plus lyrics. And that is it, Your Honor. And they have to wait for however many weeks it's going to take to get on the calendar with Judge Glanville, you know, on a 26 defendants in this case. And you know, I think you have concurrent jurisdiction. I've had plenty of cases where magistrates have set bond in cases. This isn't a case in which the magistrate lacks jurisdiction to set bonds. Not one of the 7 deadly sins.
May I ask a question? And I apologize for cutting off Mr. Samuel.
That's okay.
I want to just deal with that threshold question first. The court does tend to agree with some of what you said, that this isn't one of those offenses where bond would only go to a Superior Court judge. Correct. There is concurrent jurisdiction on the bond.
Whose screen you want?
But I do want to hear
Full
from
screen,
Mr. Smith
yeah.
from the state.
Whose screen
Is
do you
there,
want to be
Whoever's talking.
you're saying that you would rather Judge Glanville hear the bond, correct?
Judge, what I'm saying is that this case has been indicted, and this has already been assigned to Glanville. So I believe jurisdiction lies with Judge Glanville.
And so do you have any legal authority at this point to say that the court does or does not have authority to consider bond today?
I can pull it for you, Judge. But again, like, with it already being assigned, I believe it's the jurisdiction with the Superior Court. But I can get that for you.
And has there, Mr. Samuel, I appreciate that. Mr. Samuel suggests that there's no court date scheduled before Judge Glanville. You might have said this earlier, but when was it indicted?
Indicted.
The 9th, Your Honor.
The 9th, Your Honor.
Okay, 2 days ago. Okay. And do you agree, Mr. Smith, that the indictment issue notwithstanding, that based on the charge that Mr. Kitchens was indicted for, that the magistrate court would have authority to set bond on that charge? You're just saying because the case has been indicted, it needs to go to Judge Glanville.
And it has been assigned to Judge Glanville.
Right. And is there any word from Judge Glanville's office that they want to handle this and that they don't want this court to hear the bond issue?
Not that I'm aware of at this time, Judge.
Okay.
We're
And
not aware of that either, Your Honor, just so you know.
okay. And so, you know, I just want to make sure, Mr. Smith and Mr. Samuel, that the court starts with the premise that I don't have authority to do anything in particular unless the law expressly allows the court to do it. And I'm just a little concerned, Mr. Smith, where you say, and I respect your position, that because the case has been indicted and assigned to Judge Glanville, that would remove jurisdiction. And you said that there's authority for that. I can do one of two things. I can either just say, in the court's discretion, I'll move it on to Judge Glanville and let him hear bond. But the court is a little bit concerned that there's no court date scheduled for that. Or I would need some kind of authority from the state indicating, or some indication from Judge Glanville's office that they would prefer to handle the bond issue. It is a conspiracy to violate RICO charge. It's one count. So what's the state's position on that? Do you have any authority for the court?
Just, may I have a brief moment, Judge?
Yes, of course. And I don't want to rush you. I don't want to rush either side.
I just want to give the relevant authority for you to show that it's within the jurisdiction of the Superior Court.
Oh, thank you.
And Mr. Smith, you can check your email. I sent you a copy of the delegating order.
And for everybody here for the 11:30 calendar, we'll get started soon. I appreciate everybody's patience. We'll resolve this case one way or the other in the next several minutes.
Your Honor, I just want to clarify that which case are we dealing with right now?
It's position 14 on the first appearance warrant calendar. It's 22 SC 182273.
Thank you.
Yes. And good morning to you, Ms. Mackey.
Good morning, Your Honor.
So this is where you do that. It typically comes alphabetical order B, C.
Looking at 2021 EX001071, an order delegating the setting of bail. It was filed June 11th, 2021. And it does give this schedule. It's signed by Judge Brasher as the Chief Judge of the Superior Court of Fulton County, Atlanta Judicial Circuit.
All right, now that's enough of that. So let's get off into this. Which is why I have here we go again. So you hear them talk about speeding tickets. He was not driving the car. Okay, you also included in the state's indictment in their RICO charges that they're bringing for Gunna is traffic violations. One for tinted windows. You just heard his attorney say that. And another one for another traffic violation, which he represented him then, in which he was not driving the car. Allegedly, he was a passenger. Well, he was the passenger. Someone else allegedly was speeding, but it was not him. Again, his attorney, who's represented him now, represented him then for those motor vehicle citations or traffic stops. And someone else from another motor vehicle had a gun. And so when I talk about overreaching right now, and the other thing, okay, so for Gunna, you have tinted windows, you have speeding included in his RICO, and you also have lyrics. Let me say it again. For Gunna, they have tinted windows, they have speeding, and they have lyrics. So over here, let's just keep it all the way unfiltered and straight out, flat out, blunt. The prosecutor, the female prosecutor, when I said what I said the other day, overreaching, a little bit too cocky. a little bit too cocky in some of these charges. I meant exactly what I said because, okay, they're going to turn around and they're going to sue the state. I can see the state of Georgia being sued behind this RICO case, coming from Gunna and coming from Young Thug. From my perspective, from what I've seen and heard, their attorneys who have the discovery say so far. Again, the Constitution protects. So let me be clear about this. It protects our First Amendment rights. Go here really quick and read something. Pull this up real quick. Let me read the document that I had in the background when it came to amendment rights. Let me pull it up. Let me go here and read this. Oh, no, that's the wrong. Tinted windows. Okay. It's included in a RICO charge. Speeding, and he wasn't even driving a car, is included in a RICO charge. And lyrics. So for Gunna, he's not a felon. He doesn't have any felony on his records. Young Thug, not a felon, no felony on his record. Both were denied bond. Okay, so you have other rap artists now coming forth and speaking out. You've had some rap artists coming forth in a way, plainly and bluntly pushing back. And Letha brought up a point. She said, I mentioned this when they went after Robert Sylvester Kelly on a RICO charges and charged him as an enterprise. And we know, anybody with common sense and good sense knows, one man is not an enterprise. And then as I began to read Jennifer Bonjean's motions, you find out that the jury was biased and they should have been dismissed, period. The judge didn't dismiss them, and counsel, which we call ineffective counsel, didn't dismiss them, have them dismissed. So here we go again, roll over into this year. And then it's being alleged that other rap artists are going to be hit with RICOs. Not only rap artists. And these artists of late have been Black. Now, when it happened to Tekashi 6ix9ine, I'm going to be honest. I don't know what his nationality is. I mean, I don't know if he's Hispanic, whatever. Okay, whatever. So he got out of his, they tried to come for lyrics. And coming for rap lyrics is not new. They did it with NWA. They definitely banned 2 Live Crew. And 2 Live Crew had an awesome attorney. To this day, you can Google 2 Live Crew and listen to his attorney talk to a group of students who were going to school for law and how that went. But going back to this, my perspective, the First Amendment is a constitutional right. Music is protected in the First Amendment. The 14th Amendment protects and backs the First Amendment. The 5th Amendment, which deals with intellectual property, protects and backs the First Amendment. Freedom of speech. Music is considered. I need to stop playing with the volume in the background. I'm turning the volume off. This down. So let me put this down. So music, as I was saying, it's protected. Musical lyrics are protected under the First Amendment. So when I hear prosecutors coming out, and I've heard other attorneys, Caucasians, African American attorneys, Hispanics, whatever, weigh in on this. So let me be real clear again. Lyrics are protected underneath the First Amendment. It's a part of freedom of speech. Period. Period. Now, when I hear people talking, I'm saying, okay, I heard attorneys who only do RICO cases, criminal law. They've been out there, so I've been listening to them. Then I hear attorneys from other spheres out here talking, but let's talk Constitution now. Okay? Because you get a constitutional lawyer in on this, and they will tell you, excuse me, lyrics in music is protected underneath the First Amendment, and it is a part of freedom of speech. Period. End of story. So when prosecutors come out and they go after lyrics and music, unless they can substantiate a claim that they have made, because the burden of proof is on the state, they need to be real careful. Because from my perspective, not only are you looking for a lawsuit, because then you are violating somebody's constitutional rights. And who are you? Hear me good. Who are you to violate somebody's constitutional rights? We have a right to freedom of speech. Music is freedom of speech. Lyrics are considered freedom of speech. It's protected underneath the Constitution. Again, let me be clear, because we will follow wherever the untampered with evidence leads. Untampered with evidence lead. Prosecutors better be very careful, because they have done this for years. They always get caught up in overcharging people, stopping at nothing to bring charges against U.S. citizens. So they need to be real careful, very careful. And let me say it again, because I don't care what attorney been out there running their mouth. When it comes to, hear me good, you can be an attorney, you can be a judge, you can be whoever, whatever. That's why we have prosecutorial misconduct. That's why judges can be impeached. So hear me good. And I've been hearing some attorneys, and I'm thinking, I would never hire that one. I wouldn't hire that one, because then they wouldn't represent me appropriately, and I would have to get them for ineffective counsel. While they're out here talking about these cases pertaining to Young Thug, Gunna, and then it's 26 others. But when it comes to rap lyrics, let me say it again. That's music. True or false? Is rap music considered music? Yes or no? True or false? Music protected under the Constitution, First Amendment, as free speech. True or false? Yes or no? It's just that simple. Again, I will wait for the state of Georgia to substantiate their claims and look at the untampered with evidence. Okay? Again, I'll say it again. Prosecutorial misconduct and overreaching is a real thing in America. And this is not new to America. This is true to America. Period. Exactly, Lita. How about they do that? And no, when they're talking about trafficking, okay, yeah, Lita, I'll give the updates on the My Arbery And I'll get the updates on that. As a matter of fact, I'll do that tomorrow. When I come live tomorrow, I would do the updates on that. But I mean, when we talk about my library, I can get the updates on that now. Jackie, okay, I see where you're going with this. Okay, so Letha is saying, give the example of how the DA, Jackie, in Georgia, talked to the McMichaels or McDaniel, whatever, 16 times. It was communication between amongst them 16 times, and the record will show. So you get into DAs, prosecutors, abusing the office. So, and misconduct. And let me say this again. I don't believe in prosecutorial immunity, nor do I believe in police immunity. Period. United States of America should have ended that a long time ago, because if you start holding these prosecutors and these police officers accountable for their actions, their lies, them being a liar and them lying, you can help mitigate some of this foolishness we have in some of these egregious actions against U.S. citizens. Period. Period. Okay. All right. So let me go here. Let me read this as it pertains to freedom of speech in music. Got it. You're trying to tell me about a shortcut. Got it. Should be right here. Oh, no, it's not this one. I'm going into the wrong document to read. I'm like, oh, no, it's not that one. Again, I do not agree with anybody who believe in violating anybody's constitutional rights. I don't stand in agreement with you when you are not interpreting the law appropriately. Period. So when it comes to these cases, again, we will follow where the evidence that's not been tampered with or contaminated leads. Okay, everybody can have an opinion, but allegations, speculations, conspiracies, and theories are not facts. Not only are they not facts, they're not evidence. And here we go again. Are we innocent until proven guilty, or are we guilty until proven innocent? I remember Robert Sylvester Kelly and Jay-Z doing a song called Guilty Until Proven Innocent. Selah, pause and think about it. Come on and load the document. Open up my document. Okay. Got it. Okay. I won't read it from that one. I'll read it from this one because I'm installing software on that one. So let me go to this one. Again, reading as it pertains to the First Amendment. So, First Amendment to the United States Constitution requires that Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech. The founders listed this right in the Bill of Rights because they believe free speech to be among the rights that all people are born with, and because it was a central importance to free government. Songs, song lyrics, and musical performances are forms of speech protected by the First Amendment. And I'll read that again. Songs, song lyrics, and musical performances are forms of free speech protected by the First Amendment. Artists, including musicians, exercise freedom of speech regularly as they write and perform songs about anything from their own childhood experiences to important political and historical events. While not all listeners may agree with the message of the music, and let me say that part again, while not all listeners may agree with the message of the music, the First Amendment guarantees that musicians will be free from government interference with their expression of their views. Every controversial one, even controversial ones, in fact, protecting citizens' rights to speak freely and criticize government was one of the key reasons for the First Amendment. And that's why it was added to the Constitution. All right. So when I hear prosecutors come out, and they've done it before with other rappers, and say we're going after lyrics, okay. Well, let's see if they can prove that those rappers or artists did what was stated in the lyrics verbatim. The burden of proof is on the state. But when it comes to Gunna, listening to his attorney and reading through some of the charges, tinted windows, speeding, in which he was not driving the motor vehicle, and lyrics. Okay. When it, again, going back to Young Thug, some of his charges, his attorney already said, we already dealt with those years back. They're not felons. Neither one of them have felonies on their records. No felonies on their records, and was denied bond. But what gets interesting is they've been simultaneously appearing in before different judges, two that I know of today. The judge that we just listened to, Mr. Judge Wolf, he does not have the authority to allow them bond because they have been indicted already. So, however, Georgia is doing what they are doing. That's why he couldn't do it. And he says it before. If they were not indicted by the state, then I could consider bonding them out. But because they've been indicted, and I really have no authority to grant them bond, the other judge who's presiding over such case has to do so. So, yeah. So getting to the example, Letha, when you're saying Kiss used to pee on his fans at concerts, bite heads off snakes, and okay, all of this stuff, okay, happening, which is so for Gunna. What I hear is problematic is tinted windows, prior motor vehicle citations. Tinted windows. That's going to be problematic for the state as it relates to this RICO. And speeding, his speeding, in which he was not even driving a vehicle. So they included these charges in this RICO. And lyrics for the state. Problematic, right off the back, lyrics. Protected as free speech. First Amendment right. Tinted windows. Stupid from my perspective. Nonsense and foolishness. Okay. Speeding, and he was not driving a motor vehicle. So when I say prosecutors would sit here and overreach, you're overreaching. And this is foolishness. These three areas are problematic for Gunna. For the prosecutors as it relates to Gunna. Lyrics, protected by the First Amendment. Music falls under free speech. Tinted windows. Since when does having tinted windows become a part of a RICO? And speeding, and he wasn't driving a motor vehicle. Since when is that part of a RICO? Now, the prosecutors are going to have to prove that he was accessory to something for the person who was speeding that pertains to a RICO. When it comes to lyrics, they're going to have to prove he did what in whatever lyrics and songs they're attempting to use against him. Okay. And it's his body of work and it's his intellectual property. When it comes to the tinted windows, that's just foolishness to me. Unless they can correlate that to something that would be valid pertaining to this RICO. Because just because you have tinted windows mean what? It means what? Okay. So these attorneys are geared up, and Gunna had two attorneys. Okay. And I could foresee Young Thug, Jeffrey Williams, his attorney that's representing him has represented him for the last 10 years. So I can see probably his attorney will bring on some more attorneys, and they'll have a team of attorneys to litigate in court. So this is, again, prosecutors need to be very careful, and more U.S. citizens need to get up off their backside, get engaged, and start going after these prosecutors for prosecutorial misconduct, and make sure they are disbarred from practicing in the United States of America, period. When it comes to judges presiding over these cases, they can get it too, okay? Disbarred for federal judges, they have to be impeached. They have a code of ethics, but when it comes to the Supreme Court justice, which we will get to tomorrow, they don't have a code of a conduct or ethics that they have to go by. And so this week, legislation was being drafted so it can be passed, so they can be held accountable. So it won't be a free fall, because tomorrow we're going to get to Kerensz Thomas and his criminality and his criminal wife. Or we going back to the insurrection. Don't be deceived. Don't tell me that you're just for justice for U.S. citizens. You just want them to be held accountable for their actions and any type of criminality that they may have participated in, criminal acts they may have participated in that violates the law. And then you want to give judges, police officers, prosecutors, and the like a pass. No, ma'am, no, sir. Not at all. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Miss me with that foolishness. And so, um, huh. I'm waiting for some YouTube hustlers to go ahead and start collecting money based off Protect My Free Speech campaign. Protect My Freedom of Speech campaign. I really am. I'll say it again. I'm waiting on some YouTuber internet hustlers, social media hustlers to go ahead and do that and bring the money in. By the way, while we're talking about that, young Gunny, the hoodie he had on that we just saw during his bond hearing, is popular right now. Like a lot of people have been purchasing that hoodie. They want it. The exact hoodie he had on is a hot item right now that is being purchased. So, yeah, 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 yeah. All right. Letha, you said I was echoing. Let me make sure I just have one speaker on. So, are we innocent until proven guilty, or is it a bias that is not implicit? Because implicit bias, you are not aware that you're doing it, or is it a guilty until proven innocent? The song that Robert Sylvester Kelly and Jay-Z collabed on years ago. And what is it predicated upon? Okay, so those are this is some updated information as it relates to these RICO charges. And again, I will see, I'm waiting to see everything that the state has. Just because you draft up fluff and stuff. And so my next title for some prosecutors will be fluff and stuff. Okay, when you put fluff and stuff in documents and submit them before the court, but it's padded, it's a bunch of fluff, no substance to bring charges against U.S. citizens. Fluff and stuff. Yeah, we're going to get there. Fluff and stuff to win cases. Yeah, we're going to get there. So we as U.S. citizens have to stay actively engaged. Again, everybody has a right to free speech as long as we are not hurting anyone and as long as you don't start doing direct threats. We understand that. However, like I said, when it comes to music, unless these prosecutors can substantiate these claims, it's an overreach. It's an overreach. It's going to be an overreach. And some people are under a preconceived notion where they already got a bunch of evidence. Da 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 da. I have seen it before. State brings the case. They're bringing the charges, and you get a studious defense attorney, an investigator, and they make you look like a fool. they go ahead and just poke holes in everything you bring. They challenge everything you're bringing. Okay. When it comes to going on social media site, and I believe that they should know this, will the warrant to acquire images and messages off social media sites are needed. Okay. That's going to be needed. It has to be authenticated. Because I would take somebody down on the technicality if that was my client. I'm going to make sure authentication, validation, and integrity of the data that you are attempting to emit in court is valid and that is admissible according to the law and best practices as it relates to the technological field. Period. I'm going to want to know that there were no worms, no viruses, no Trojan horses, none of that messing up the integrity of the data. Okay, messing with the integrity of the data when it comes to electronically stored information. Don't play. All right. Again, we will follow where the untampered with, non-contaminated evidence lead. All right. We're still looking at these cases. And last year, when Robert Sylvester Kelly was charged with the RICO, I said, okay, prosecutors have started coming with a wish list for artists on bringing them on RICO charges. And again, this is not the first time that an artist has been charged or indicted with RICO. It is not. However, when they start going at the lyrics, you are stepping over into a realm that you better be able to properly deal with. But like I said, rappers coming out the woodworks for this one right here, for these RICOs, going after them rap lyrics. They're coming out the woodworks, speaking out immediately on this right here. So, okay. Yeah, Letha, we'll get to him tomorrow. We'll get to him tomorrow. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Female rappers included. We'll start coming after everybody. All the rappers. And this genre of music. And so I can see why rappers are speaking out. However, it is not just applicable to rap. It is R&B, it's country, it's Western, it's heavy metal, soft rock. Because you start listening to some heavy metal, you'll start finding out some stuff. And you're like, just, okay, I'm going to leave that alone. Okay. All right. Now, with that being said, again, everybody, you can go back and you can listen to, it's also on YouTube. You can listen to the hearing for Gunna. You can listen to Young Thug and why they were denied bond. Again, my stanza is nobody, no one, nobody, no person, nowhere, no how should be violating another person's constitutional rights. Period. And to do so, and these here United States is out of order. And you're setting yourself up for a civil lawsuit to be sued. All right. For infringing upon U.S. citizens' constitutional rights. Now, how about that? Now, having said that, You all have a pleasant evening and a pleasant night. I'll be back on later on this evening because it is literally going on 2 o'clock my time. So it's already the next day. And we will get off into lying elected Looney Tunes in a lying appointed Looney Tunes. Lying Looney Tunes. All right. So you all have a pleasant evening and a pleasant night. Everybody stay safe. Everybody stay vigilant. Everyone stay actively engaged. Bye-bye, everybody.